and it's daytime for us, but I'm pleased to say we're in conversation with Mr. Joe Walsh from Ekko Park in Auckland, New Zealand. And
yep.
It is a nice day today. It's our album release day today.
It is, man. It's been 2 years in the making, this record. For various reasons, it's taken us this long to get here, but we're on release day. So we're about 12 hours ahead of you. So I'm on having a few vinos. So you might be thinking it's breakfast, but
listen, you crack on. I think that's quite cool. Just get the wine out and get on it. You know, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
So how was launch day gone? How is it? You get some figures through? Is it looking good? Or
I'll tell you what's happened in the last 10 minutes, just when you were texting me. So you might be able to see this. So we got the chart. So the chart came through tonight, Friday night. So we've had our highest ever charting single in New Zealand in the rock chart. So we're number 2 in the official rock chart. So above the Stones, above Chris Cornell, above Ozzy Osbourne, Marilyn Manson, Green Day, and Pearl Jam. We're number 2. So it's been insane. It's been insane.
Yeah, that'll be a nice wee boost as well, because obviously, like you say, it's been a couple of years in the making. So it's and to get feedback like that, it's obviously well worth it. You know, it's
it's amazing. It's amazing. Big thing for us is it's just been like it's been such a crazy journey, but it's like once the album's out today and the first couple of singles have come out in the last month or so, it's felt really fresh again. It hasn't sort of felt like we're sort of pushing shit uphill, if you know what I mean. Like it feels like it's really fresh again. We've been busy for those 2 years, and certain things have happened that have made it take that long. So it's actually really exciting to have it out now. So it's great.
Obviously, got new members in the band as well. Yeah. Has that been a factor in how it's taken so long?
No, funny enough, no, it's actually not. That actually sped things up. So what actually happened was when Alex, our new guitar player, she joined in November of 2017, and we'd just been back from our first tour in Italy, which our last album had done pretty well in Italy. Strangely enough, we got picked up by a couple of really big radio stations over there. So we went over and toured over there. So Alex joined in around November, and we sort of decided that she was such a different guitar player to our founding guitar player that we sort of felt I didn't want to be pushing her into a corner and sort of say, like, try and be like this. We were just like, let's batter on with some new songs. So we wrote and recorded really, really quickly. But what actually happened was the chance came up to have our record. So I think it was around February 2018. In February or March, we finished tracking. But the chance came up to have the album mixed by Chris Sheldon, who mixed The Colour and the Shape for the Foos, and Trouble Gum for Therapy, and lots of music that I've loved forever, really. Especially being a Belfast boy, like I was a Therapy fan when I was a young lad, you know. So Therapy were the sort of the band that made me realize you could
two bands,
you could be in a big band, you know. So so Chris got on board. So that took a few months for him to mix, and then he was actually mixing the Feeder record, the last Feeder record, Tallulah. And our producer, Greg, who's a Welsh guy who lives down here now, he had sort of said, well, he knows Grant from Feeder, so we sent him a few songs.
Yeah, Grant gets about, doesn't he? Grant gets
about. And a lot of people don't, especially in New Zealand, you know, people know a few of the songs, but don't really know of Feeder. Like, Feeder was so big to me, man. Like, I backpacked 99, 2000, you know, and I had Feeder CDs in my backpacks. It was crazy for me, you know.
Yeah.
We named Ekko Park after their third album. Second, third album, whatever it was. So it's crazy. So Grant was in the midst of Feeder stuff. So we sort of knew that he wanted to jump, or was willing to jump on a single. So that took probably, I think it took 5 or 6 months for that to sort itself out. And then when the single when Grant's stuff got done and then Chris mixed it, we realized that was going to be a single. So then we said to Grant, look, we'd love to do a video with you. But he was right in the middle of theatre touring, so it probably took another 6 months before we could shoot him in London for the video. So it was basically sort of, we knew what the end game was going to be, like having Grant in the video and the song. So it probably took us an extra 12 or 14 months for that to happen. But we didn't sit on it. Like, we got the vinyl made, and we rebranded the band, and we got some really cool merch made. And so we just used the time. But it was, I guess that's what I was saying at the start. It felt like really productive time, because we knew that it was going to be a better album sitting on it for that time than it was just to push it out when it came out, you know?
I kind of guess the end product is worth waiting for. You know, if you're going to get someone of that stature, you know, and a producer of that stature, you want to wait. You don't want to go, no, let's get the boy round the corner. He'll do it tomorrow, you know, and then you put it out thinking it's not what I felt. So I suppose waiting for that stature to come with the two guys, you kind of thought this is the right time to do it. It's not as if you're going to disband. It's not as if the world's going to end. Pardon the pun at the moment, but you know, you kind of think you've got you know 10, 12 good songs here. Let's just wait and let it build momentum, and let's get the right people, you know. And obviously, it's a banging little album, I must admit.
Yeah, man, we're really proud of it. You know, it's one of those things. Like, I think you judge. I mean, for a band like us, or an independent band, especially from a country like New Zealand, you know, we're doing all right down here. And I think the most important thing for us was the first album was the best album we could have made at that time. The second album was the best album we could have made at that time. So for all their flaws and faults and immaturity and all that sort of stuff, I still am really proud of them, because I don't actually believe we could have made a better album at that time, you know, whether it was funding or the people we were working with or whatever. But so it's just it was really exciting to me that this album, it got elevated, and we had Chris on and we had Grant on, and I just think we were a better band and we were better songwriters. And probably the fact that we had those little faults and those things that we would dig at in the first couple of albums has made this album better. So it's really exciting. You know? Yeah, absolutely.
We're waiting for, Joe. That's the thing, you know. And I think you know, the good thing for guys like me and the company that I work for, you know, we've got 60 to 80,000 people every month that visit the site, you know, and these interviews, video interviews, are becoming really popular, you know, and everybody kind of wants a piece of the pie, because it's a nice way to get you out there, you know. And obviously, what I always say to people when interviewing, the thing for me is that I get to listen to the music 2 months, 3 months before it comes out. Now, this has obviously been a long time in the making, but you know, it's out today, so people will rush it. You know, I had it a couple of weeks back, you know, and I put it on my iPod and I go out walking, I'll just put a couple of tunes on, you know, and you get a wee bounce, you think, and then, you know, you get the chance to interview, you know, your PR company said you want to interview them, you know, and it's nice for me to put names to faces, and also to say, you know, instead of me turning and saying your album's absolute shite, because you know, you can go, I like this, and you go, that's really good, because it's a nice way to show appreciation that you've put something out. And obviously at this horrible time when no one can do anything, you know, we have the grand gesture that we can listen to it and review it and listen to it again before anyone gets it, you know, and that's a real good thing, you know, that, as I say, reviewers live for live music, but I'm doing probably 30 albums a week at the moment.
Wow.
I'm just reviewing like a maniac, you know. I'm just like, every time I open my phone, there's another message for something else, there's another message, and it's just continual, you know. I'm probably reviewing 10 hours a day.
Wow.
You know,
that's amazing.
All sorts of different stuff, and it's nice when you get little gems that drop into your lap. Let me listen to this. Oh, that's quite good. It's, you know, sometimes you get stuff that's quite overbearing. Sometimes you get stuff you just think it's really weak. Sometimes you get stuff you think, I'm not sure, I need to listen to it again. But you know, what I normally do, Joe, is, and you'll see it in all my interviews, is I get myself a glass of red and I play it through first, and then I start to write it. and I get a wee glass of red in me, and I think
cool.
it helps me to, you know, to get the juices flowing, because when you're going to put,
Yeah,
you know, that your album review was put on yesterday on
yeah.
the website. So what I'll do is I'll send it to you after we finish, to your
Awesome.
email account. I'll send it to that, and you can have a little read of it, and then you can
Cool.
email me back and tell me if I'm talking a pile of shite or not. So that's
Awesome.
all good. So at least we get a wee bit of commonality there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice wee album, and it's and you know, and you should be proud of it. You know, it's a nice wee
Yeah.
piece of music. You know. So what's the next step? What's on the cards now?
So we obviously things were a bit brighter maybe a few weeks ago in New Zealand because we had no restrictions down here. So we've got a full New Zealand tour booked from the 4th of September. Now we'll find out on Monday whether we can do the first couple of weekends of that. But we've rescheduled those first couple of weekends to the end if we need to. But it's an amazing thing about New Zealand that I first realized when I moved here 15, 16 years ago, whatever it was. Like you can go 40 minutes down the road and fill a venue. It's just a really, it's a very unique country in that way. So we've got a 23 date national tour booked from 4th of September all the way through to the 7th of November. So 9 weeks, 23 shows. So hopefully we can hammer that out. I think it's possible we might need to move the first couple of shows, but if we do, we do. But so the next step, is just going on the road and playing all these songs live, and then hopefully just riding the wave of the good stuff that comes. Like I think, like we released All Eyes on Me probably 7 or 8 weeks ago now, because it was supposed to be the build up for the album, and to see that it's like this is the highest charting position that we talked about earlier. That's the highest charting position we've had in New Zealand. So
congratulations. That's a really achievement.
But to get that, like sometimes you get that on week 1 or 2. You know, you get that initial burst, and then the song just collapses. Like I think we were number 5 in the first week, and then we were number 3, and then we dropped to number 9. But to be number 2, like 8 or I think we're 7 or 8 weeks into after releasing it, it means that we're actually consistently. It's staying out there, which is something I think
people are listening to it and people are thinking this is a great number.
And they keep adding it. So I think what's really changed for us with the last 2 singles and this album is that I think the step up has sort of made people not just aware of a song and go, oh, it's a cool song and it's gone in a week. I think people are actually adding it to their playlists and adding it to their library and actually going, shit, I like this band, you know. So I think there's something really.
You have a little, you know, there is obviously, you know, when you listen to some bands, you have a little uniqueness about you, do you know, which is nice. Do you know, you get bands you kind of know, oh, they're pure rock, blah blah blah, but you've got different styles that flow through.
Four of us are coming from 4 completely different places musically, but we're all the spine that runs through us all is we're all massive David Bowie fans. But everything off that, like, is I'm a massive Pearl Jam fan. Brian's a massive Stones fan. Alex is a real punk fan, and Nick's got 2 favorite. Our drummer is the craziest guy in the world. He's got 2 favorite bands, and one of them is Old Crow Medicine Show, which is pure like bluegrass country, and the other one is Metallica. So like, who knows what's going on in that guy's brain, you know? So I think there's I think what we've struck with this album is really cool. Is that we've made an album that none of us could have made individually. You know, it's taken the 4 of us to be in the room to make these songs. So that's kind of what I kind of like that. You know, I kind of like that people are going, oh, you've got your cool little thing going. And I understand it because it's not me like being a songwriter and bringing it in and the guys are just adding bass and drums, or, you know, Brian brings the songs in and I'm just singing over it. It's kind of like I'm bringing in something and the guys are sort of molding it into the next thing.
They're adding to it, which is good. It's a 4-person collaborative rather than me saying that I've done the chords, the lyrics, and you add, and people go, hold on a minute, you know. So it's nice that you've got 4 equal parts and people are saying this is a bit. you know, and next one, this is my drums. You know, I started off with the bluegrass, and then I've came in to my stride and oil
It's
and
so
water,
funny.
or 3 days in
Yeah,
March, hitting a bit of
yeah,
Metallica. People go, right, okay, and you kind of roll with that because you kind of
yeah,
think, you know, there's diversity in it, and he must want to take it somewhere. So
yeah,
you roll with it, and then you put it out, and I think it comes out on the album. You know that
yeah,
when you listen to the stuff, you listen to the tracks. You know that, as I say, there's lots of good little tracks in there. There's lots of there's lots of different genres in it, which is really cool because
yeah,
you don't go same as the last one, same as the last one, same as the
yeah.
last, because it's a different style and it's a different beat and it's a different rhythm, and that's what makes it really good.
Yeah, I think that's what made sense to us as well. I think we were very aware when we listened back the very first time to the mixes. We were very aware that it is quite random. Like some of the songs are, there's a little bit of sort of like I listened to it today for the first time in ages, obviously because it was our release day. I listened to it this morning, and I hear a little bit of Placebo, and I hear a little bit of Supergrass, and I hear a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But
Yeah,
I think what that comes from was the fact that we were a new version of this band, and we wrote it really quickly, but we had three of us are all front people in different bands. So there's actually three lead singers in the band now, even though I'm the lead singer of Ekko Park. So it's sometimes that can be an absolute nightmare because you're fighting for space in a song. But what
yeah,
actually happened with us was it actually seemed to flow and create this album that is, and you're totally right, there is some songs on it that are like, so like if you were to say to me, send me two songs off this record to define the record, I'd be fucking stuck, because I'd be like, I like this and I like this,
yeah.
but they're
Oh,
they're
and I like that.
completely
I
different,
like that, and you hear. No, it's interesting what you're saying about Alex. You can hear some punk,
Yeah,
vibe in it as well, which is quite nice. So she's put a little stamp on it, which is nice,
yeah,
and it's not as if, people go, because I know that she's been in the band a couple of years now, but people kind of only really know her from this album and
yeah,
go, right, she's, what's that I'm hearing there? And people go, it's a bit of grungy punk. And then when you tell people, yeah, she's got that, she loves the punk stuff, people go, yeah, I can hear that. And that's nice as well, because it's not as if,
yeah,
straight through guitars with a couple of
yeah,
riffs, and people go, yeah, I felt that little chink in the middle, the change up, and people go, yeah, I kind of got that, which obviously lets Alec put her stamp on the album as well,
yeah.
and people could recognise her for that.
I also think it's important too, because it means all four of us are excited about the album, because everybody's got their own ownership to it, and
Yeah,
everybody can hang their hat on it. You know what I mean? And none of the other three guys are celebrating my album and going, "Oh, it was great to play on your album," or such. And like all of us today are actually excited because it feels like it's our record. So
yeah,
that's
yeah, cool.
that's pretty special with a band, I think.
So the guys, what's it been like, kind of post lockdown? Have you been trying to record? Have you been trying to rehearse? Have you been trying to get?
We've rehearsed. I think we were just really. It's been funny. It's been a funny situation because we were trying. We were trying to find the best way, the best angle to get the album out, and then when we hooked up with Rick and Chris from Dinner for Wolves, who put it out for us, we had a plan, and we were actually, there was talk of us going to the UK at one point to do a support tour for an American band actually, and we had that locked in. But then sort of COVID hit, so our initial plan was actually to try and strike up more of our profile from playing live, and then drop the album a bit
Yeah,
later.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
because of the way the world has worked, we actually flipped it. So we released the record, or we started to plan to release the record. So we haven't sort of we didn't go into the studio to start writing new songs or anything yet, because we were very aware that this, even though the album's been 2 years old to us, it's only one day old to everybody today. And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
we're just excited. I mean, we've toured this, we have played some of the songs on this album now for a couple of tours, the last couple of tours. But obviously, you're playing songs to people that haven't heard them. They know, you know, some of our fans know our older songs. But what's really exciting for us now, I guess, is that this next tour will go out and people will have these songs. They'll be running to them and listening to them, and so it's almost like we're starting again today, you know, which is really exciting. And I think what was good was we had the package ready to go. We were one of the bands that were very lucky with COVID because we had the 2 videos made, we had the singles chosen, we had the artwork done. We just hadn't got the right time to release it. And now that then when COVID hit, we were actually like, well, actually we've got everything ready to go. So let's plan it and do it. So we were very, very lucky. Just one of those crazy things, you know, just one of those bands that had stuff in our back pockets, and that's what we've done, you know.
I'm in Glasgow, and we've been in lockdown for 22 weeks.
Yeah.
Crazy bonkers, you know, where it's just, you know, there's 730,000 people made redundant, and I was one of those last week, you know, and you kind of think, when's it going to end? My boy, he lives in Melbourne, and he said, oh, Dad, he says, I'm in lockdown until September the 13th. And he said it's just crazy where you can't do anything. They fine you loads of money, you know, if you don't wear your mask, and you can't go between this time and this time. And you kind of think you guys were lucky because with New Zealand and Australia being such a vast sizing country, it became probably quite apparent that you weren't going to get it as bad as the rest of the world, Europe and America, you know, type thing. Because although America's a vast place, all the countries are vastly populated with trillions of people. So, you know, I don't care, I'm just going to go out, you know. And, you know, we're kind of slowly but surely coming out of it, you know. And we've had probably, I don't know, 30, 40 tours cancelled so far. There's a couple of things that's due near the end of the year, but we're not sure if they're going to go ahead either. So the good thing possibly about the COVID is that next year you'll probably have a gig every night in Glasgow or anywhere in the country, because people will be going, I've got this new album, we've just put it out, we put it out during the pandemic, we haven't played it, but you know what, I've now got 6 months, 9 months full touring.
Like Biffy Clyro just released a new Ekko, right? Aren't touring it?
Yes.
Yeah. I tell you what we found down here. So we were supposed to tour June and July, and we postponed that in I think around the 1st of April or something. We postponed that, and we obviously offered everybody a refund, but we said, look, we're postponing, we're not cancelling. So we booked this for the 4th of September. And the amazing thing that we found here, and I thought it was incredible, was, you know, out of all the tickets, like 23 shows is a lot of shows, you know. There wasn't one single person asked for a refund. Everybody was willing for us to wait till we rescheduled to see whether they could come to the next show. And the burst of ticket sales for the second announcement has just been incredible. I think people are really, I'm an eternal optimist, but I kind of hope maybe that this thing might bring people to venues they've never been to, and might bring them out to live music that I haven't been to in decades, maybe because they've no other fucking option, right? So they're not spending their money on a holiday to Fiji or Rarotonga, what Kiwis do, you know. So they're having to stay local, and we're touring, and it's like, well, here's an option. Let's go out for the night, and that's what we've found that. That's backing up your comment. Is you're absolutely right. It could be like next year, the Barrowlands is going to have the greatest year of fucking gigs in history. People will be fighting over each other for dates. It's crazy.
Absolutely. You know? I think you're right, Joe. I think that, but that's a good thing, because you hope that it's going to bring the economy back. At the moment, the economy's on its knees. You know, one thing that I've probably found. We were lucky, you know, I've got loads of tickets booked for shows that were happening this year, and Ticketmaster has very kindly, you know, said, look, you can have the option of a refund, or the tours are being postponed. What a lot of people are getting just now is they're saying, you know, the tour has been cancelled, but what we want to do is we want to give you a voucher to buy a ticket
All
from
right.
Glasgow. And then you kind of think, but what if I can't go to Ekko Park next year? What if I can't go to the Fighters next year? And they go, you've got fucking Westlife, or you've got, you know, some crazy band that you've never heard of, and you go, why would I want to go and see that? And I think that's the hard part, where if you give you a right to go, look, we'll give you a refund, and if you want to stay and the band's going to postpone, great, fine. And you're right. I think if you go, you want to see the band, you're not going to go, nah, I just want my money back. You're going to go, I want to stay because I want to see them. And I think that's a really nice thing, you know. And the fact everybody in the world's having to postpone gigs and move them around. And you're right, people might go, I can't go to this show because it's too far in the future, or I've got something on, or I'm getting married, or I'm going to fucking die. So it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I kind of think it's, you know, it's nice when you're postponing and people are going, I want to still come and see you, you know, because that's a testament to you guys that people want to get out. And you're right, to maybe a new band or a new venue, just because it's live music to get out. You know, I think that next year, and I know this year's really hard, but I think next year will be a really good year for new music, for existing bands, for new albums from existing bands, that people are going, wow, they've been away for 5 years and they've came back with this, and it's absolutely out of this world. And I think that's what's going to be good about it. You know, it's going to be it's going to be exciting. But I guess it's when you're having to wait. You know, you can't go. You know, the fact that you can't go to the pub, you know, and you can't sing and you can't do whatever. You've got to wait till next year. And you guys, you know, as I say, you've got to wait till next year till you come to Britain.
Yeah.
And you know, and showcase the album that people haven't heard. And that, as I said, you've had it out for 2 years, or it's been ready for 2 years, but it's amazing that you're going to have to wait that length of time. But I think we'll want to come, you know, and rock out to Ekko Park. You know, I really do. Absolutely. You know, it's been an absolute pleasure to listen to, and it's nice that when you get to review it and you get to speak to the person maybe a week or so, or 3 or 4 days after it comes out or before it comes out, because you've got the inside track of the records that people don't have, you know, which is brilliant. So, have you any plans to come to Britain? Is that next year?
Yeah, so this was the thing. So the initial plan was to go there first and try and sort of raise a bit more profile, because we've played London, and obviously we've played Ireland because of my ties. So we've played Belfast and Dublin and stuff. So the plan was to go early this year, and that didn't happen. So I think we flipped everything on its head. So the plan is absolutely to go back. I think we were chatting to Tony, our guy in the UK, last week, and we're sort of looking. I think actually what you're saying is very true. I think the first 6 months of the year is going to be stacked, because you're basically just moving everything from this year. So I think, and it's good for us because your winter is our summer. So we'll get our summer tour out of the way here and get us through to sort of March, and then we can start planning for over there. So I think realistically, I don't see us getting over there before September or October.
Wow.
But I would imagine that we're going to hold off and try and get on a really solid tour that gets us through Britain and Europe and Ireland. September, October, I think is probably the most realistic. I'd love to say, you know, we'll jump on a few festivals or something, but I think it's realistic to say that every band that was booked for a festival this year will be playing the festivals next year, because they're just going to move them a year basically. So, and I think it's fair. I would hate to have been I would hate to have had a Glastonbury slot or something this year and then be told that it's not there next year. So I think realistically we'll be playing over there September, October is kind of the view, I think.
Cool.
And I that's cool. I mean, it's you know, we're on the other side of the world, so we've got this tour coming up, and then we've got our summer coming up, and stuff sort of shuts down on radio over here sort of for 12 weeks, sort of mid-December to February. So that's touring time. So we might release 4th or 5th single maybe February, and that sets us up for coming into your summer. So basically I think it's probably a good timeline, really.
Yeah, cool. That's great. I mean, I think it'll just be good to see you. I need to go into your merch store. It's a rather cool skit cap you have there, Mr. Joe. So maybe
Yeah, that's actually pretty sad. That wasn't intentional. I just seen that. Yeah. Well, it happens. Wearing your own merch in an interview is pretty uncool, I think. But
me too. Me
yeah,
too.
well, there you go. Chucked it. Two
But
sad bastards.
it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, Joe. It's been nice to get to know you. It's been nice to chat about music and stuff and COVID and all that shite. Hopefully, we'll keep in touch. I'll send you the review to your Gmail account. You can have a little read of it, and then you can email me back and with a big middle finger or a two, whatever you want. And we'll hopefully try and keep in touch. And then when you do get over, if you come to Glasgow, Scotland, give us a holler and we'll meet up for a beer.
Rad. Sounds great, Brad.
Super. This is Darren from Jace Media with Joe from Ekko Park saying thank you very much for your time. I hope the album does extremely well. It's out today. Yes. Everyone, go and buy it.
Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, bye.